Hi all. Just to go on to the 22nd. Um, One little thing. I wonder if I can just. I made a comment on it in the video, and I missed a detachment here when this unit moved across the river. So I may do that a lot. It seems one of the easy things to do for me anyway. Okay, so that fixed. One rather important thing I forgot to mention at the end of the last day, at least I don't think I mentioned it, was to check the victory conditions. Whether I just realised we were okay or not. But anyway, if we had, if the Germans have less than 11 victory points, it'd be a strategic win. If they have greater than 45, it'd be a strategic loss for us. Well, they've got 35, so they're 10 short of that. So we've got that 10. So, and then it drops down today. After the end of today, they're going to need greater than 50. So we've got a wee bit of leeway there, which is maybe just as well after what happened at the end of the day over here near Ardennes. So not quite worked out what I'm going to do about all that yet. I think I'll need to come up with some plan. After all that work up there, preventing them from getting to the Meuse, it looks quite a simple procedure for them to get to the Meuse here. I mean, if the 47th get to activate before I do anything, they're just going to breeze on in there. Probably just probably right in Ardennes, take 5 victory points, be adjacent to the Meuse. In fact, they could even cross the Meuse, and it's horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, yeah, it could be serious. However, so we don't have the victory points are still in our favour at the minute, but yeah, we'll go work on our hands. Okay, so moving on with the next day, the daily sequence of play, reserve phase, take allied units from calendar, place them in the allied reserve units box. Right, well, as you can see, we've got 3 units from the 12 Corps, 3 infantry units, and we've got a 5th Corps infantry unit as well. Yeah, that's the 3rd unit of the 9th Division. I think the other 2 are, whether they're out and about or may have been eliminated actually. And we've got the big stack of British units. So hang on, I'll bring them down because that's the way to make a mess there. Okay, so that's all the reserves. So I'm right in thinking we must be getting the British cards coming in as well. There would be certain restrictions about how they get to move about, I think. I'm not sure I've ever got to that stage playing the Allied solo, to be honest. Thinking back to the German solo, I don't think they get to move freely until certain conditions. Could be that a German unit reaches the Meuse or something. There's no German, I mean, they don't get put down yet anyway, but there's no German units in the reserves for today, but they've got a load that have bounced back from in play to the reserves, so they've got a lot of units to be able to move about and play with. There's one extra rule comes in today, and that's advanced restrictions for the Germans. I think it's 12.83 it says here. I think it's like when they advance after combat. I was talking about it recently, I think, wasn't I? Yeah, beginning December 22nd, a German unit will advance into a surrounded hex only if the hex is old value 4 or higher. Or the advance enables any German units currently unable to trace a line of supply to do so. So that starts today. That's the only extra rule. Like I already said, they need greater than 50 victory points to give us a strategic loss. We need less than 15 victory points to get a strategic win. But And the one other change, which is quite a nice one, the supplemental card stays at 8, but our hand size goes up to 7 from 6. It's been 6 from the last 3 days, so we get 7 cards hand size. And the German discards, the Fading Initiative, is up to 4 now, so that's a good thing for us. So, okay, so there's no units that have been in the reserve units box for 2 days. They would be deployed, and then we would release the German OKW at this point if any German unit was adjacent to the Muse. So we managed to avoid that this day. I've got my serious doubts now about avoiding it for the next day, but I mean, there's a long day ahead, so I mean, I suppose the British units could be our hope if we can get them out before. But like I say, I'm not that sure they can cross the Muse. I'll have a look at that maybe. Yeah, I figured as much. It's something similar, I think, in the German solo, but units, this is 10.7 British 30 core restrictions. Units of British 30 core may not move or advance into a hex east of the Muse until the moment a German unit enters a hex adjacent to the Muse River, or, and this is only on the 26th plus game day, basically once we get to the 26th, then they can cross freely. But we're only on the 22nd, and it's quite an important day. We'd like to get them across right away. So unfortunately we can't cross them until a unit reaches the Muse. So I suppose the one thing about that is the unit's got to stay adjacent to the Muse into the reserve phase of the next day before the OKW units are. But yeah, okay. Nah, let's not delve into all that. Okay, so anyway, they're not getting released today anyway, so that's good. So moving on to the card prep phase. Well, there's no big deals with the German cards. We've just shuffled these up. The cards that are in the reinforcement cards. The next one's for the 23rd. Like I say, there's no reinforcements come in today for them, so we'll not be adding any other cards. And the army group card's not going to bring any units down because there's none to bring down when it appears. Okay, that's the German draw pile shuffled up. Just counted the cards there while I was doing it as well. There's 32 cards in the minute, so it's a fair bunch. Right, right, let's deal with the allies. Actually, I mean, I'm kind of out of order there. I think you know, the way it has it in the rules, you do the allies side of things first, but it's not a big deal. I'll do the allies stuff before I do the Fading Initiative anyway. Right, so for the ally cards, there's my sugar cube to say that I'd activated 1 unit a day, so we can take that away. Right, there should be a few. So we get the 3rd Army card as well. The 12 core, that's probably involving the units that are put in the reserve units box, wasn't it? I think it's the 80th Infantry. And then you get 1, 2, 3, 4 British Army cards. So that leaves 1 card on the 23rd, 1 on the 26th, 1 on the 27th. Yeah, it kind of dies down a bit. Well, we get a bunch tomorrow. The 23rd's quite good. So from these cards, the supplemental ones, which is that, and that, they all go in the available supplementals, so that pile there. And then the primary card goes into the draw pile face down. So now we shuffle the available supplementals and we draw 8 of them, I think. Yeah, so it was 8 of them, so shuffled them up, they go in the draw pile. These are the remaining supplementals. There's quite a lot actually. I mean, we put a few in there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still 8 that aren't accounted for, if you know what I mean. And then these supplementals from the previous day, just double checking that they're all supplemental, they go into the available for the next day. And then we pick up our primary cards, just double checking they're all primary. Yeah. And they go into the draw pile. We shuffle this up and then draw our hand size, which is, like I say, it's up to 7 now. Okay, that's me drawing my 7 cards. I just counted our cards as well. We've actually started with 15 cards. Well, obviously I've just drawn 7, so there's 8 left. So we go less than half of what the Germans have. But I mean, it's always been like that. In fact, it was probably worse right at the beginning. So shuffle and draw a number of cards indicating the colour for your hand. Right, okay, so I won't look at them just yet, I'll just leave them there and we'll jump back and we'll get this fade in initiative. So we're looking for a good result here. So like I said, the German discard for the 22nd jumps up to 4. So we're going to draw the first 4 cards and they're going to be discarded. So here we go. Well, that's a great start. 47th court is not what we want. I mean, it's unfortunately it's the supplemental card, and they may well have repaired rather than activated. However, right, second one. Well, there's a division card for them as well. Third one. Yeah, 85th core. We're not fussy about that. And the final one. First SS division card. Well, it started well. I think if it had been the primary card, it would have been much happier, but because I think, yeah, they would have. Mind you, I'm not that sure that there's a few of the units probably can't trace reserve supply now when I look at it. There's probably enough of them for them just to carry out the repair though with that card. Well, right, okay. So that's that. Right, then we move on to the supply phase. And this is where generate German detachments. So I'm going to just go and do that myself, and I'll maybe point them out if there's not many of them. But if not, it's not really that important. It's a bit boring, this part, to be honest. But I'll point out anything important anyway. Okay, the first one I can find is this one. What are the ones along to the east? Are all Allied supply can't be traced. You need to have Allied supply and German supply traceable to that. And detachments exert zone of control when you're trying to trace Allied supply. So, but this one, Allied supply, can go into here, across the river into here, and then down, and then down to R1. So, and then German supply can easily be traced up to here in the way. So we're looking at hexes. So place a new detachment. Oops, drop things on the floor. New detachment will win 2 of that. So here, I don't think we were going to get here. I mean, there's one up here. That's what Allied supply is probably not traceable with that. But we want to go closer to this edge because this is the shortest distance. So this would be a 2 anyway. So this one's a 3, and I think he is going to get this town actually, because it can be placed in an Allied town. I thought at first we weren't going to be able to trace German supply because this bridge is still Allied. Well, not just that. We need to get up. However, I've just realised I can come along this way, so I could go 1, 2, 3 onto this road here, and then up now through this unit, through over this German bridge and up and away. And obviously Allied supply is traceable to that too. Oh, hang on. I never took into account this hex, did I? Yeah, and it's not adjacent to the map edge hex, and it's further, it's closest to I'm sure that's the first sort of tiebreaker, isn't it? It's closest to the map edge. Yeah, so this one's closer to the map edge, so that's going to take preference over that. It doesn't consider highest hold value until, you know, obviously if there was a 2 here and a 2 here, then you would, no, if there was a 2 here and a 3 here, you know, it needs, you need to be, it needs to be prioritising closest to map edge. And that's still, German supply can still be traced. 1, 2, into that road, and then up the way I said. And then Allied supply is just traceable right down there. So that's, yeah, closing in on R1. So I'll tilt that just now, just in case I forget. Okay, we'll see if there's any more. Okay, this one I think would be eligible because Allied supply is traceable. You know, 1, 2 into there and away. And German supply is traceable to it. But I don't think I can find the hex to place one. I mean, both this. Oh, am I lying? Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to trace Allied supply from that because I can't come down here. I've got to remember that this detachment exerts a zone of control while you're trying to trace. So I can't place it there. I couldn't place it there either. Same situation. That's within 2. This is within 2, but again, Allied supply is not traceable, and Allied supply is not traceable there. So I don't think that one can generate one. Okay, moving on. This is another one that would apply because German supplies. I mean, the reason these are still in play is I would have checked end of day. You check end of day for Allied supply and German supply needs to be. No, what is it? I got that wrong. Hang on. During the end of the day, if either Allied or German supply cannot be traced, you would remove it. So obviously Allied supply can be traced, well, it can just go down there and away. German supply, a little bit trickier because these bridges are all Allied, so 1, 2, well, 1, 2, 3 getting into that unit, and then we can trace supply away. So it does apply, but I can't. This is probably the hex you would want to go. It's closest to this map edge down here. That's number 1. But German supply is not traceable now to that, I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I can't quite reach that road. And also coming across this bridge wouldn't work either, I don't think, because I'd need to go. I can't go across the bridge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'm just short. So I don't think German supply can be traced to both the hexes. And we've already said Allied supply can't be traced to these two. The other option is there. Well, I'm pretty sure German supply is not traceable to that, but you can't place it adjacent to an Allied unit anyway. So I don't think that one's going to generate one either. Oops, it's alright. Yeah. Yeah, I think similar situation here. Although Allied supply is traceable to this, and so is German supply. Spawning another detachment. I can't put it there, it'd be adjacent to an Allied unit. That's not going to be Allied supply traceable, and neither is that. So that's only 3 hexes with hold values. So that's not good either. So my guess is this one's maybe not. Allied supply can go 1, 2, 3, yeah. German supply. Can't spawn one there or there, it's adjacent to Allied unit. Already said that one can't. Yeah, I don't think there's anything for that one to go either. Okay, so nothing doing there. So we've only got the 1, but I noticed earlier on when I was looking, you've got to remember occupied German towns as well, which is something can be easier missed because you're not seeing a detachment. I'm just looking back here at that one option. Nah, it's fine. That's fine. But yeah, if you remember, well, how can we forget? The Fuhrer Brigade took Ciney. So this is a German-controlled town, which Allied supply is traceable to. Now, German supply. No, that is just normal supply. Yeah, it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it just needs to get onto this row. Sorry, I'm a little off camera there. I'm just trying to. 1, 2. You can trace through its own units. You can trace into there, and then it's away. That's fine. And then obviously Allied supply is traceable to that. So that is that can spawn a detachment, and oh no, don't tell me. At first I thought, is it going to take Dinan? And then I thought, no, surely this map edge is closer, so it's going to go up the way, but I'm actually not that sure now, because the map kind of, zoom out a bit, see if I can show you what I'm talking about. The map kind of angles up here, so I don't know, this could be the closer edge. And if that's the case, well, would it take Celis instead? Right, I'm going to have a look at this and think about it. This could be dreadful. Okay, so that's me just marked the 4 hold values within 2 of the Fuhrer Brigade. Now, this one's adjacent to an Allied unit, so we can take that one away to start with. Now, obviously between the 3, depending on supply issues, we would need to find out which is the closest map edge, I guess. Oh, this is getting worse. I'm hoping supply can't be traced here. This is 8 hexes. Celis here is 6 hexes. So I kind of thought Dinan would be 7, but it's not because of the angle going up. It's 6 as well. So, and then because this is a hold value of 4 and Dinan's a hold value of 7, that is going to be the one it wants, assuming supply can be traced to it. And you know what? I think it can. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it can trace into this hex, and it's on a road that can then go in here, 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 here. Yeah, it's away. So German supply is traceable to Dinan, and Allied supply is obviously traceable as well. Dear. Okay. And it's closest to the map edge, along with this option, Celis. They're both 6 hexes away, but this is the highest hold value. So that's going to be the one that spawns a detachment, and it can do this because a generated detachment may be placed in an unoccupied Allied town. Doing so makes the town German. So they're going to gain control of Dinan. And spawn a detachment. Let's hope I've made a mistake here. I don't think I have. Yeah, I'm afraid I think that works. So, and they've just gained control of Dinan, so they're going to get 5 victory points. So, me saying things weren't too much I can serve, so that's 30, Well, I'm on 35, so it's going to be 40. I'm going to jump right up to 40 victory points. Oh dear. Okay. 1, 2. No, I can't even, because this is what I was saying about this unit. It's got to. He's adjacent to. He's in a zone of control. He's got to break zone of control because I mean the town is empty. On saying that, it's got a detachment in it as well, isn't it? So I can't just move right into it. I've got to stop adjacent to it, then activate again, remove it. Oh, how did I let this happen? 47th. I mean, they're clearly. I mean, you could kind of consider the first SS to be as strong, but I think 47th are the most strongest sort of aggressive corps, aren't they? Because they're coming through the middle. And why did I just look at them and not be concerned? I mean, maybe it was a bit of a lucky activation. They're going, well, not really, because if they'd activated themselves as a corps, I know they activated a couple of divisions and then got an assault coordination, but it was all 47 corps units, so all it needed was 47 corps card to do the same thing. So oh dear. Okay, right then, let's just move on and see what's what. Right, the last part of the detachment generation is any west wall hexes that might have Allied supply and German supply traceable to them. There's none of them. No. There's none of them that don't have detachments already, so I think we can move on past that. Okay, what's next? Okay, I'm going to check supply status. All the German units. I very much doubt there's anything, possible issues across the west, but I think we've just looked at that and it looks like they've got things all right there. I'll have a wee look myself. There's the big picture of the eastern edge, if you want to see if there's anything you can pick out, and I'll see if I spot anything. No, I don't see any problems for the Germans at all over the east, and it's unlikely to be here as well. We've done nothing to interfere with that. Whether I've had chances to do that or not, I don't know. Up the north there, it looks fine as well. This unit was starting to get, well, they only just crossed the river, but you know, the rivers you've got to watch, but you can still trace across this river, 1 hex. And he's kind of the only one. And then we look at, well, we've just looked at the fact that these guys are in supply, you know, 1, 2, 3 gets onto this road, and then there's no Allied zone of control stopping him after that, and he's tracing through his own units, so it's fine. Yeah, no, I can't see any issues. If you can, let me know. Right, so let's look at the Allies now. Well, obviously the 2 isolated stacks, well, that's 1 unit, there's 2 in that stack. They're still unable to trace supply. So I think we have to do a dice roll for them again, don't we? Give me a sec. Yeah, so we need to check for this unit first. Now he's green, unfortunately, as well. So on a 1 to 6 is a surrender result. And if it falls within that range, we'll remove a step from the unit. So hope for higher than a 6. Oh, we get a 10. The guy survives again. I think he survived the last time, didn't he? Right, now this time, no, I should leave that there just now, shouldn't I? This time we've got, there's 2 units. I think they must have just got the isolated status the last time. Right, so I'll check. Is it? Right, unfortunately if they take a hit though. Right, so these are line quality then, regular they call it here. So Right, I'll check number 21 first, and then 22. So regular is a 1 to 4. So a 1 to 4 on selector number 21. Oh dear. Right, well he's gone. So 21's gone. And then same on unit 22. I'm putting that marker back there in the hope that it's staying there. Right. A 6, okay, so he's okay. Unfortunately, yet again, that's 2 more units in the eliminated units box. So another victory point, they're up to 41. Okay, we'll carry on checking supply for the allies. Okay, it's all kind of horrible down here for us. So all these guys are out of supply, so they're all going to go low supply. This one, these 2, and this one. Yeah, okay, moving on. Now for the good news. Okay, Baston's been liberated, if you like. Well, these units can now trade supply into there and away, so they lose their out of supply marker. What was it we had in there? Two 12 core units in it. Yeah, and the 8 core unit. So a positive out of many negatives, I think. Kind of thinking that the rest should be okay still. They're all keeping west. Yeah, these are fine. Up in Wales is fine, and these guys are fine, even though the 47th broke through there. They've not got round the back of them right now. This unit's fine as well. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, what's next? So I just supply stash. Yeah, I've done that. Allied air interdiction, right? So I may play an air power event to discard top 2 cards in German deck and also skip the first German impulse. Well, I probably want to do that if I can. I've not got a first impulse that's going to save me here though, so right, let's look at the hand first anyway. Okay, so we've got 7 cards this time, so let's see what we've got. 12 core, 7 core, division card, 18 core, no big army cards. Oh, spoke too soon. First army card. Oh, let me get the British core. Right, okay. So, and as for reserves, we've got 1 5 core unit, which, you know, can't deploy anywhere near. But I mean, you know, this is a big issue here. The British Corps, let's say, yeah, we can maybe get them deployed, of course. We've got the card now to deploy them, but they're not going to be able to move, or maybe just going to have to accept the fact that we've lost some more victory points. We've maybe lost Dinan. The Germans are going to get adjacent to the Meuse. Whether we can get the British Corps out and then fight back at Dinan, maybe take it back and stop. You know, it's first thing in the day. And First Army, well, First Army's up that way, isn't it? So, First Army card. Right, do we have an air power anyway? Well, yeah, it's going to be in the cards we don't want to use, isn't it? I mean, the First Army and the and the British Corps card, they've both got air power. That's not fair, is it? Well, I've got 2 of them. I did not get. Is this 7-core card? Is it the primary card of that? I'm sure that's an air power, is it not? Or the 3rd core even, but then again, maybe I wanted to use that. I don't know. Yeah, we're in a bit of trouble. Just reading the deployment rules there for the British Corps, and if deploying reserve units prior to a German unit entering a hex west of the Meuse, place each unit within these special restrictions. So, in a road hex and allied supply west or north of the Meuse River. Exception, the unit designated 29A XXX may be placed in Dinan. So, however, you know, I wouldn't have even been able to do it even if they hadn't taken that, because it would have to have been 3 away from there to deploy it. So, and now they're going to have to be 3 away from Dinan, because that's a German town. Yeah, and I was just double checking there that the British Corps don't come under any of the army cards, which, yeah, kind of makes sense, isn't it? This is the US Army and this is the British Army, so what about the Army Group card though? Yeah, play the 21st Army Group card to deploy all reserve units, so that must be able to do it. That's a pity, that would have been good. Guess it would have been quite lucky to have drawn that the first 7 cards as well. But, yeah, I'm just trying to think if it's worthwhile using one of their cards for the air power. I suppose that's a big decision now. I don't think I want to use the British Corps card for it, because I probably want to get them deployed. Hope that I've got the supplemental card in the draw pile as well. But then again, I still can't move them across the river, can I? Grr. Okay guys, this video's went on a bit long, and I still not made my mind up here about what I should do. So I was hoping to get all this part finished. I just think I need to think this through a bit more. It's quite an important decision to make, and I maybe need a clearer head to what I've got at the minute. So I think I'll take a pause here. So where are we? We're right at the end of the supply phase. Step 4, Allied air interdiction, to see if I want to play an air power event. So basically just that, and then we move on to either a German impulse if I don't play one, or we discard 2 cards, they skip their impulse and we have an Allied impulse. So so it's near enough at the stage where we're going to start doing things. I just feel like I should just think about this a wee bit longer, and see if I can come up with any clever ideas. I'm just looking around, just had a comment from Martin. Actually, I've not opened it up. He's mighty jealous of my card drawing skills. I wish I could have I don't know, I'm just opening up the now, so I think he's obviously talking about the what was it when I drew that was air power as well, wasn't it? Was it the Army Group card and the 5th Panzer card? I'm sure that's what he's on about, but okay, it's part of that. No, I don't know, maybe not. I'll have to look into that a wee bit more. But yeah, admittedly, some of my card drawing has been quite fortunate, shall we say. Okay, I'm going to have to ponder on this for a wee bit longer, so I'll pause this. Obviously can't upload this as the first part, I'm tempted to, and then post the question, you know, what would you do here, guys? No, I'll probably not do that. So I'll come back tomorrow and make my decision, and hopefully just tag this on at the end of this. Yeah, because things have kind of went a bit south, as they say. Not great looking at the minute, but yeah, maybe I can still make something of it. Okay, I'll leave it for now, guys, and I'll make my decision tomorrow and come back and sort this out. Okay, cheers for now. Hi all. Right, just a couple of things to talk about before I finally make this decision on this air introduction. I'm just killing more time because I'm still not sure. Okay, first of all, I want to start kicking myself for what happened up here. And I know I talked about in hindsight, yeah, I could have kept the card. And the card, remember, it was a 5th core card and had a reinforced battle in it, and it was I used it to replace 2 points where it could replace 3 points. But I should have known that I was always going to get one last impulse to use that card. So I didn't need to use that card, and all I was doing was repairing a couple of points on units, not as if I was moving a unit to an important spot or I was making an attack, or it wasn't that important. I didn't need to do it that turn. I could have waited until the Germans had their what turned out to be their last impulse, but that's fine. I still get a last impulse. You know, if things go differently, I just play that, I replace the points, and we're all good. So I know I'm talking about in hindsight, but it was silly. I didn't need to do it. I should have kept it. I mean, yes, it might not have mattered, but it turns out it did matter quite a lot. Because I mentioned about having reinforced battle, and there's... I'm not going to move the units. The unit on the bottom, or is it the middle? One of them. I think it's the 8 core unit. Right, well, I'll show you. It's not the 8 core unit then, it's a 12 core unit. If I'd been better organised, I would have put that on top just to show you. Yeah, so he was in that hex here, and the attack took place in here, in this hex here. And I'd reinforced battle, and I think I mentioned the fact that I could have moved 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3 into there. Now remember, the unit was in there, it was a 2 strength unit, so I can only reinforce battle with the same or less strength. So that unit would have been able to do it, the other 2 wouldn't because they were 3 strength. So I could have played that reinforced battle, brought that unit into there. The odds would have then been 18-4, so the odds would have been cut to 4-1. And I just checked back on the chits that were pulled and whatever. And the big chit that got missed out was, if you recall, there was an 8-1 chit, which gave a D3 result. Well, that's the only chit that wouldn't have counted, funnily enough, but D3 was quite a lot more. So the result was D7, but the result would have been, if I'd done what I'd done, would have been D4. Now, fair enough, you would think that would still destroy a unit, but remember, we've now got 2 units in that hex, so we've got 4 steps. So even at D4, I could retreated into Cine for 1, and I could have took the other 3 hits if I'd wanted to, rather than retreat a second hex and disperse. I could have took 3 hits and still ended up with 1 unit, bracketed unit in that town. I could have also retreated into here, just outside Dinan, and took a hit on each unit, reducing them both to 2 strength. I think 2 strength, but bracketed units. And that's what would have happened if I hadn't rushed and played that 5th core card. I mean, okay, something else might have happened, but that's what would have happened, because I would have kept that and I would have said, right, no way am I going to let these guys plough through there. And okay, I didn't at that time know that this was going to happen in the reserve. Is it the reserve phase? No, not the reserve phase, the supply phase. I didn't realise that was going to happen in the supply phase, that they were going to spawn another detachment actually in Dinant, take 5 victory points, which I'm assuming they get because they've got control of the town. I did wonder about that one again, but I mean, surely there doesn't need to be a unit there. They've took control of that town, so yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't get the 5 victory points. So there you go. That was bad. And all I got for it was 2. What were they both 2 strength units, 2 strength bracket units bumped back to 3 strength units or something like that. Anyway, kicking myself for that. And you know, we would have been able to repair that. I mean, if we had just retreated to here, they would have advanced into there. Admittedly, if I double retreated into there, keeping the 2 units alive, they would have advanced. If your brigade would still be in there, but at least we would have had the 2 units in there, still exerting a zone of control. He wouldn't have been able to put that detachment there because it would have been adjacent to an allied unit. So wouldn't have been able to gain Dinant, gain the 5 victory points, etc. Oh well. I don't know how I'm getting out of this mess. Anyway, okay. Right, there was a couple of other things I just wanted to mention. Okay, again, I'm only going to be able to talk about where things were because things have all changed. But I'm sure you remember it. It was when we attacked the 58 Corps unit. This guy, we destroyed him. And there was another 58 Corps unit up here, adjacent to a roadblock. Can't remember exactly where it was. Was he here? No. I think he must have been further. Well, you know what? I think he was here actually. 1, 2... Yeah, because it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that hex, and the roadblock was actually here. Pretty sure it was that anyway. Anyway, I talked about at first I went through the whole procedure and then realised that if I did reinforce the battle, La Roche was going to have it was going to be allied supply was going to be traceable to it. So it ended up it couldn't make the move anyway. But I was under the assumption that if I did reinforce the battle with that unit became active and the roadblock got removed. Well, no, that's wrong. Both John Brown posted first and Martin came along agreeing that when you reinforce a battle, it's not activating the unit. I'll let you read the whole post if you want. It's on the YouTube video. Well, when he says, John says his supporting rationale is that if the units are stacker from a different core than the active core, you can still activate the different core during the next impulse. Which that makes sense, right enough, because if we do use that unit to reinforce the battle, it's clearly not become active because then you can activate it next impulse. Whereas, you know, well, mind you, the Germans can do what they like with that. But I'm guessing that's what he's meaning with that. Martin agrees as well. He mentions that it actually happens in. Oh no, it's mentioned in 6.4. When it talks about bringing a unit into a combat via reinforced battle assault coordination combat tactic is not considered an activation. So there you go, right there it says not considered an activation. And he also talks about it happens in step 1 of the activation. So you remove, in step 1 of a German unit activation, remove allied roadblocks. And where I was in step 5, I was conducting attacks. So that's in a different place to where you would actually be able to, even if the unit was active, it doesn't really say you're allowed to sort of remove that. I've got to agree with them, yes. There's a bit in my mind that sort of says, it's one of these wee niggles in my mind that says maybe it's not really been thought through that, and maybe it would still be considered to be able to remove that roadblock when it was trying to make that move. Because it is making a move, you know, I know it's coming into the battle. I mean, it's got to actually make the movement, it's got to make the movement points, you know, it's not that it just teleports in. So, you know, I guess there's a wee niggle in the back of my mind saying that it might possibly still be able to have removed that roadblock. But admittedly, what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, there doesn't seem to be anything that backs that up for me. The one other point John had made, I had talked about being a little frustrated about, because it was reinforced battle, was a restriction that I was breaking covered by that, because it just says it says these restrictions apply to every hex of German movement and advance after combat, and I think I grumbled that why does it not say reinforced battle, and John says also, again, in my mind, the restrictions don't need to explicitly say reinforced battle because it does say every hex of German movement. A unit stack that has to move when reinforcing a battle does trigger the restrictions. So like I said, the reply I got from Martin about that question way back in the time felt, he didn't seem 100% like it was 100% sure, but he felt like it was. Yeah, you know, I think that's right as well, but I mean, you know what, I don't know why advance after combat's not considered a German movement method either though. If reinforced battle's a German movement method, why is advance after combat something different? You know, and the advance after combat bit came up recently when we were talking about core objectives, weren't we? And John Butterfield actually replied saying that advance after combat was part of a combat rather than movement. Is reinforced battle not that? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. It's maybe before the combat starts. Anyway, I don't know, a few of the things sort of, but okay guys, you're right enough. We'll take that as it is, and thanks for letting me know. That's good. Right, I thought there was something else before give me a sec. I think that was it actually. Something else was on my mind. I'm just uploading the video from the last part just now, so, well, you'll see it shortly. I've decided to give it the name Oh Dear as the title. The amount of times I've said oh dear as I'm looking at things developing for the Germans and kind of cringing. Yeah, it's not been my finest moment that. Like I say, because I could have held that card back and done something about it. I didn't need to rush in and play the card. Just silly. Right, okay, so I'm still putting off time to try and make this decision, and then I can probably just put this together and put this up as part one, because it's quite an interesting start to the game, because this is obviously where you're going to see this happening, unless some of you worked that out at the end of the 21st, maybe sort of said, oh, that's going to spawn a detachment, taking Dean on, 5 victory points, cheerio. Yeah, so, well, I've thought about the cards I've got, and nothing can help me here. I mean, this unit, I could move this unit into Celis. Does that help me? I don't think so. And the annoying thing is that's part of the third army, because I've got the first army card, and if anything, if I'm playing the air power card, I'm going to have to use the first army card for it. And before I started recording, I was set that that's what I was going to do. I was going to play that for air power, air interdiction, and then my first impulse was going to be to deploy the 30 core British units. I mean, they're all going to have to be the other side of the Meuse. They're going to have to be at least 3 away from Dinant now, because it's German controlled. So, I mean, and they're going to have to wait that side of the Meuse until a German unit reaches it. Which is kind of like, I'm just hanging about waiting for it to happen. So that doesn't feel like it's helped. I mean, I think it's more than likely going to be the situation that I'm going to end up in, because the Germans, I can't keep putting off their impulses. You know, I can only do this once. So, you know, even if I draw the other 30 core supplemental card, it's not doing me any good. I can't get across the Muse. So it's a bit of a no-win situation. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here's a thought. Could I attempt to surround? I'm just looking at this unit. Oh, he's breaking zone of control as well. Oh, well, wait now. I could go 1, 2, 3 into there, and this unit could go 1, 2, 3 into there, surrounding the Führer Brigade unit. Does that make things... Well, is that 101st unit as well? It is, yeah, because it's just the division card I've got for that. And like I say, they're not the first army. You know what? That's maybe not a bad play, is it? Activate 101st. Now, I'm more than likely going to have to play that for their interdiction because, you know, it's a big gamble to just say, right, on you go, Germans, draw 2 cards, and hope that they're not 47th, 5th Panzer Army group card. Even the division, was it? What was the? We got this division card as well, didn't we? 2nd Panzer and Panzer Lehr. Oh, there's me looking through the discard pile again, Martin. Right, good. So I think it'd be far too risky, but I need to make sure this is going to be worthwhile. Because what happens after that? Well, what could happen after that is, if this unit's in here, now you'd have to stop when he gets adjacent to there. But if he's in there and I can activate him again, that detachment goes away and I can move him into Dinon. So that's what happens. That is one way of getting the town back. And to be honest, it's probably the only sort of solution that I've got, because I've not got any. All my mechanised stuff is all the way further north. This is all infantry I've got down here. And none of them are going to get down, you know. The other reserves have got to come and play as 12 core infantry units, and there's one from the 5th Corps, again an infantry unit, but that's got to deploy above that line, so that looks a bit like my best option actually. Right, give me a minute. I mean, there's nothing to say that if that unit's there and the 47th activate, they're probably going to crowd out that unit. In fact, could they get round about? Well, they want to hit the Muse, aren't they? That would stop that guy though. He's going to be locked in, isn't he? Yeah, it's more looking like a better move than I even think. There's also 101st unit in there as well, but not that he could. Again, I could only do out and in with him, so he could actually get into this hex as well. So I could technically leave that unit there maybe. And he's 3 strength in there, but this one's only 2, and he's got an IP, so. Decisions, eh? Right. I do actually feel that is my best shot at getting Dinon back easily. You know, I'm not saying I might still not be able to get Dinon back, but at the moment there's no units in it, so I think that's my best shot at it, because if I just deploy the British units, they're all sitting behind the Muse. The 47th activate, they just stroll into Dinon, they stroll up to the Muse. Okay, that then enables my British units to come across the Muse, but they've got to get across the river and get round about Dinan, and by then there might be 2 or 3 units in it. Yeah. Okay. Right. I've got to decide. So I've done it. I'm gonna play this for air interdiction. I hope yous aren't screaming at the screen. Don't do that, Grant. That's silly. That's as silly as what you done in your last impulse. Oh, yeah. Do it, Grant. Do it. Because, I mean, this isn't. I mean, activate any one First Army Corps and stacked units with a bonus comp. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's not good, but it's almost. If you're going to use it for that, it's almost the same as just activating a corps. Really, you know what I mean? I know it's an extra and it's a bonus, but I mean, it'd be nice to do it with 7 Corps, but there's a 7 Corps. I could just use a 7 Corps card to do that. Right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this for air interdiction. Oh, I'm still trying to change my mind here. Right, okay, no, do it, Grant. So this is played in step 4, isn't it, of the supply phase. Yeah, may play an air power event to discard top 2 cards from German deck and also skip the first German impulse of the day. Links 5.1. Allied Ardennes. Aye, the last step, the supply phase. Play an air power command event. If you do, discard the top 2 cards from German deck, skip the first German impulse. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and just to confirm, this card has the event of any command event. Now that doesn't include the special events, but air power is just a normal command event. You could play it for air power, engineers, raise the alarm. I think that's it actually. It's got German plans intercepted. It's not got a wee arrow beside that. I think that's maybe a misprint. I don't think that's a normal event, is it? I don't even think I've seen that. German plans intercepted. Anyway, we're not interested in that. Right, okay. Right, let's do it. So what are we wanting to see here? The 47th primary card and the and the 5th Panzer Army card or the Army Group card. Any 2 of the 3 would do. Now guys, if I happen to turn over any 2 of the 3, right, I'm not messing about, I'm playing the game as properly as I can, I'm not cheating, I'm not. Martin's already commented recently about my amazing card drawing skills. There's nothing underhand or nothing up my sleeve, etc. Right, okay, let's do it. Oh. Honestly. Oh, I hope this isn't the 47th or the Army Group card. Oh, you'll never believe me. Alright, okay. I don't think I just put that one there to make it look good, you know. Wow, okay, well that was great. So we still got the 47th primary, and we still got the Army Group card. And the division for the Fuhrer Brigade. Which, yeah, the division card obviously. Okay, well we've done it now. So they skip their first impulse. That's just used the first army card and the first, not even on the first impulse, but hey ho. Hopefully it's going to be worth it. We can maybe recover from that. Well, yeah, it was a mistake, but it was still a pretty awesome bit of move by the Germans that made that breakthrough. It's just we should have made it tougher for them. But anyway, okay, this is on for about 25 minutes now, so I'm just going to add this part on at the beginning. So this whole first part's not going to be any gameplay as such, but it's been quite tense and exciting for me anyway. Just feeling like I was in the driving seat, and now all of a sudden struggling, and that tough decision at the end here about whether to do this or not. I've done it now, got a good result, and just spotting the 101st units could go and surround the Führer Brigade, I think anyway, unless I'm missing something. Sounds like a good plan. Okay, I'll get back with what'll be the first, it'll be an Allied impulse because the Germans are skipping, so I'm hoping to get a bit more time today, but I'll pause this one, and I'd like to maybe try and put this together and get it uploaded for you as well, because I think it's quite interesting myself. But okay, I'll be back soon guys, cheers.